Wisconsin, where he went to elementary school at Alva Leopold High School, or elementary school, kindergarten through 8th grade, and then he's been here at Dickinson High School since his 9th grade year. Activities include jazz band, swing choir, student congress, speech, theater, National Honor Society, and Best Friends Mentor. His future plans are to attend North Dakota State University in Fargo, and he is still deciding on a major. So without further ado, here are our speakers for this year.
Some of us have been through 12 years of school together, some of us only one. But first, let me talk about the past 4 years and what has happened throughout the time that we have spent at DHS. In 2008, our freshman year, Michael Phelps won 8 Olympic gold medals, more than anyone in history, and a book called The Hunger Games was published. In 2009, John Updike, that poet we learned about in lit class, died, along with Michael Jackson, but also something much more depressing. Both the Twilight and New Moon movies came with equals. In 2010, those earthquakes hit Haiti, Chile, and Japan. The Deepwater Horizon, while in the Gulf of Mexico, exploded. Spain wins the World Cups. The bird flu comes through the U.S., and Leslie Nielsen passes away. Now, I could keep going and talk about Osama bin Laden, Whitney Houston, the royal wedding, blah, blah, blah. But the past isn't what we came here to talk about. We came to talk about the future and what our lives are going to look like 10, 20 years ago. But first, look around you. Look at the 180-some faces of our class. This could be the last time you see them. Because no matter how close we are now, in a few years or even a few months, we will be scattered across the U.S. doing the things we love to do. Some of us will go to college at NDSU. Others will go somewhere else. Some of us will jump right into getting a career or having a family, and some of us are going to join the military to serve and sacrifice. But the important thing is that we're all going somewhere and doing something that we haven't done before. And I think for all of us, we need some advice for what we're going to do in life. My first piece of advice from the movie Zombieland is cardio. For those of you who don't know the movie, it means you should stay fit. This is really very simple. Just because we don't have the occasion, you should eat healthier for mom or dad. Doesn't mean you can eat at McDonald's every day. Keep a good figure and try to keep the freshman 15 down to a 10. Second, enjoy the little things, because later, those tiny things that we remember will be the things that we remember the most. This goes with one of my favorite quotes from a very wise bear named Winnie the Pooh. He said, "Sometimes the smallest things take up the most of the ground." This is true. I'm sure every person here right now has that one moment in life where they were laughing so hard over the stupidest little thing that no noise is coming up, they're just sitting there clapping. And then you try to tell someone about it later and they just look at you like you need medical attention. Third, don't forget how insignificant you are. Remember, you are one person in a class of 180. In a city of over 20,000, in a state of 600,000, in a country of over 300 million, on a planet of 6.8 billion, in a solar system of 9 planets, in a galaxy of thousands of solar systems. So don't forget that you are less than a grain of sand in the big scheme of things. This goes well with my next piece of advice. Don't ever forget how significant and important you are. Remember that out of thousands of solar systems, there is one inhabitable planet. In which 6.8 billion people inhabit, in which only 300 million can say they live in the U.S., in which only 600,000 can say they live in North Dakota, in which only 20,000 can say they live in Dickinson, in which only 180 can say they are graduating from Dickinson High School in 2012. So don't forget that you have been made into a completely unique and special person, and nothing anybody ever says or does can take that away from you. Just remember that in the big scheme of things, that tiny, tiny grain of sand in someone's eye can be really, really irritating. And now, before we all melt to death in this unbearably hot room, my final piece of advice from the great Bob Marley. Don't worry about a thing. because every little thing is going to be all right. This is simple. Don't worry about what the real world is going to be like, because you know what? The real world doesn't start when you leave high school, or when you can legally drink, or when you get a job, or have a family. You have been in the real world your whole life, so go live it. Thank you. Congratulations, Dixon High School.